go. All right, so everybody, welcome tonight. Thanks for joining. So excited to meet everybody at conference next week. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to try to get through 2 sessions here and finish up our 6-week series, and then we've got a big announcement to make next week at conference about round 2 of social media training. Okay, so tonight we're going to cover 2 sessions. We're going to cover prospecting on Twitter, and then we'll get to the next one when we get to it. All right, so thinking through our 5 pillars to social media success, thinking through the conversation aspect of it. We've talked about it several times in regards to Facebook, so tonight is all about how to engage with folks on Twitter. Now, the first thing that Twitter does better than Facebook is to tell you about your audience, okay, the analytics piece of this thing. Now, stop. So the analytics piece of Twitter can be found in one of 2 ways. One, as I'm about to show you, we're going to go to our desktop. All of this has to be accessed through your desktop. You cannot get to it through mobile. We're going to go to our profile, and then you click on this profile, and you get a drop-down window, and analytics is one of the buttons. If you do not have this button, it is possibly because you have a very, very, very small account, like probably less than 30 followers. And if you don't have this button, I encourage you to go out and try to grow that base a little bit and expand your follower base. It's simply that you don't have enough data yet for Twitter to provide it. But you can also try this. Once you log into Twitter, go to this site, analytics.twitter.com, and that can get you around the fact of you not having the button. And that way you can see if Twitter's got the info there for you, regardless of whether or not you have the button. So let's head over here, and I'll show you how this works. So we're going to go to our menu here, and then analytics. All right, and so a couple of things that I want to show you. First of all, just on the display page here, it gives you a nice summary of your account overall. Okay, so this is a 28-day summary with the comparison to the previous 28 days. So first of all, it's going to tell you quantity of tweets. So I have not been tweeting as much, although that's about to change with conference. The next thing it's going to tell you is your impressions. And so your impressions is an important metric that is not readily apparent on your tweets like your likes and your retweets are. Impressions means your readership, the quantity of eyeballs that have hit your posts, regardless of whether or not people ended up following you or engaging with your posts. All right, and so that's an important number to remember. That's an important number to remember and notice, so that you can really get a gauge of how many people are seeing your stuff, and it's not just stuck in that, oh, well, nobody retweeted me. Okay, so, I mean, obviously I did not get 12,000 retweets in the past 28 days, but I got that many people reading my stuff. Now, this is another number that I find very interesting, your profile visits. So, you know, a while back we talked about the importance of having a good-looking Twitter profile and having everything filled out. Well, this is why, because in the past 28 days, 450 people have clicked on my profile and visited me. Now, I don't know whether they ended up following me. Probably not, because I don't have 448 new followers in the past 28 days. I have 54 followers, new followers. But this is still a very valuable metric. All right, you guys are going to have to leave if you can. Just be still, okay? You got to calm down. And then mentions is if somebody puts your Twitter handle name in a message, so they obviously are trying to talk to you. And then you have follower growth here, okay? So then it's going to, on this nice dashboard, break everything down on a month-to-month basis. So they will tell you your top tweet so far of the month based on engagement. And you can click on this little box and it'll show you exactly what's happened to this tweet. So how many people read it, and then all the different kinds of engagements that have happened to it. So it got 6 likes so far. Now, detail expand means somebody clicked on the link to see the video that was there. Oh, you don't have to read. You have to watch it. Now, of course, retweets we're familiar with. Now, link clicks is, of course, how many people click the link to actually see what you put out there. And then profile clicks. So from this one tweet, 2 people came to visit my profile. Every single tweet has this data packed into it if you care to see it. So that was our top tweet for the month so far. Now we have a top mention based on who has been talking to us. We have a top follower based on their follower count. So somebody's followed us in the past 3 weeks that has almost 10,000 followers. And then a media tweet is the best one that you've done that includes an image or something like that. And then you can see on this side, they give you a month-by-month summary. And you can scroll back, and your data should go back as far as your account exists, basically. And so you can do this month by month, which is super helpful at a glance to see what worked. So next thing is tweets. So here's where you can come and find out exactly what happened to every single tweet that you have published. So again, your impression count has to do with your readership. You can change the date if you want to see a specific date range or a specific month, which I find helpful. And then you can come and see every single thing that has happened to every single tweet. Now, this, you can really get bogged down in this. All right, you girls, you have to go. Good night. I love you.
She's meant to make
Y'all are not being quiet.
face and keep making me laugh.
Y'all are not being quiet. Y'all go play Legos until Mommy says it's time for bed, okay? I love you. Good night.
Try to be quiet.
Well, you're not. Sorry. Yeah, you need to, okay, I love you. You said you weren't going to fuss when it was time for bed. Go. So when you're looking at this stuff, it's hard to tell on a line-by-line basis what has done really well in all this scrolling. Daisy, you need to obey. Go. I'm sorry, I might have to deal with this. Daisy, catch him now. Go. What I like to do, since I'm a data nerd, is I like to export this, and it dumps it all into a nice big CSV, and then you can sort it by whatever column you want to sort it by. You can sort it by impressions, you can sort it by engagements, and then you can tell, you know, your top 10 rows what has done the best, and you can pull some trends out of that. But, you know, if you're not that much of a data nerd like me, then you might not want to do that. So over here on the right side, we have a couple of more important pieces of information. We have our engagement rate, all right? So an engagement rate is when a post goes out, how many people see it, and then how many people, of those people who see it, how many people engage with it, okay? This, at first glance, seems like a really low, terrible engagement rate. The average on Twitter is 0.1%. Okay, that means that 99.9% of tweets do not get engaged with on Twitter. That means that people are on Twitter to consume, they search, they read, they don't always like, they don't always retweet, and they hop off, okay? Now, to have a 1.8% engagement rate for the month of March is strong to very strong. The highest I've ever seen is 3.5%, and we run everything for Match.com, and their stuff just gets crazy numbers. So the Coca-Colas of the world and the Match.coms and the, you know, the things that you think of that are the funny Twitter handles are sitting at the 3 to 4 to maybe 4.5% engagement rate. So when you go look at your own, don't think, oh my goodness, that's terrible. If it's anything above 0.1, you're doing great. And then this tells you how many people have clicked your links. Now, I think this is an interesting number because especially if Soundboard is tweeting for you, remember that frequently we tweet out the link to your Juice Plus site. So my understanding, I don't have a virtual office login. My understanding is that if you make a sale through your virtual office, you will be notified of it. But I don't think you're notified of visitor rates on people who click in. So this is one way to tell. Now, keep in mind, every single one of these link clicks, when you're looking at yours, does not mean a visit to your Juice Plus site, because we do publish some articles and things like that through Twitter as well. But the lion's share of these clicks would be to your Juice Plus site. And then we have retweets, likes, and replies. The other great thing about what Twitter will tell you is what's going on with your audience. All right, so when we click on audiences and come to visit this, first of all, we have our follower growth going back for the past, I guess, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Twitter had a data hiccup on this day. So you can see your trend line on that. And now this is where it starts to get really interesting. So we have our gender, which is pretty easy for them to determine. But then they start getting into interests. Okay, so what is my audience interested in? Well, they're interested in comedy, movies, and TV. Well, I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm not talking about music. But they are interested in business and news. So that means I need to be talking about small business news, small business ownership, working from your home, working 2 jobs, those kinds of things, working while raising a family, etc. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about pop, but health, mind, and body, that is a great topic that I can be hitting on with my content. Now, the rest of this stuff, well, business and finance a little bit, but the rest of this stuff not helpful for me as the person who's running the Juice Plus Helper handle, because I know what kind of content I want coming out. But I also know that these kind of topics my audience is really interested in. Now, how Twitter knows this, I have no idea. And how Twitter knows this, I have no idea. But they're telling you this kind of stuff. But this is the other piece I find fascinating. Consumer buying styles. Now, not supposedly, you can buy stuff through Twitter. It has never caught on like it did through Facebook. But you can buy stuff through it. So I guess that's how they know this. But check out what my consumers are buying of my audience. First of all, premium brands. This does not mean Louis Vuitton, because when you hover over it, look what it says. People who shop premium and high-end brands across the grocery store. So that tells me my audience doesn't care how much it costs to eat healthy. We all know it's more expensive to eat healthy and more expensive to eat organic. So my audience is very interested in that. Fresh and healthy, so fresh, healthier home solutions, fresh produce, fresh meats, home cooking and grilling. People who include meat and potatoes, so I got some meat lovers. I don't need to only talk vegetarian. Good thought. Quick and easy. Now this is interesting. People who choose heat and eat convenience. So that's code language for fast food. But combined with all this other stuff, I can probably be safe to assume they want healthy eat and eat convenience, if that's possible. Now, ethnic explorers is not what you might think it is. These are the people who have international foods on their shopping list. How Twitter knows, I don't know. So they like to eat from a lot of different kinds of menus. Now, you can see where our percentages drop off, but we still have the same kind of topics here. So these are the kinds of things that I want to hammer. Healthy cooking, healthy recipes, how to shop, how to keep your grocery budget in control, how to eat healthy on the go, how to, be creative and healthy with your international cuisine. There's an interest there. So check it out. There's a lot more. I don't want to spend any more time on this. You can click around. As your account grows, more and more tabs of this are going to be available to you. I haven't really figured out how or why Twitter reserves some of this stuff back from some people, other than I think it has to do with the size of your account and how much data is flowing through it. So that's Twitter Analytics. Go check it out. It's really great and helpful. This is just a screenshot of what we already talked about. Okay, so next thing, thinking about the audience. We know what they're interested in. So let's think through how do we already talked about that. That's audiences, leveraging that audience information. Okay, lists. Lists is the other thing that Twitter does not tell you about, but they're a killer feature when it comes to using Twitter. When you start to follow a lot of people on Twitter, okay, we're at my home feed here. Your home feed becomes this overwhelming morass of information. It's very hard to get any kind of sense of anything in particular, because it's just everything that everybody that you follow says and retweets. Now, if you would like to start culling your information in a little bit more easily consumable fashion, you need to make a list. All right, so we're going to go to our home profile, and you see at the top here, one of our things says lists. What you can do with a list is create a new list. Now, I don't use this particular handle to consume information on Twitter. I am not surfing Twitter through this handle. I do it through my personal handle. So I haven't set this up. I don't go out of my way to set these up for this particular handle. But what you do is, when you create a list, of course, you can name it whatever you want, and you have a description there. If you make it public, other people can subscribe to it, which may be a nice thing. You know, you can make a list for your team. And what the whole purpose of a list is so that you can put accounts into the list that are of a certain theme or a certain topic. And if you want to find out what healthy influencers are saying, just go and visit that list. Scroll through that list, and you're going to get a lot more codified content. So if you make a public list, you can share it with your team. So if you go follow a bunch of healthy living influencers, a bunch of dietitians and nutritionists and things like that, and you make a list and you put them all in this list, then you can share that list and everybody can be on the same page and getting a lot of the same information if you would like that. Now, if you want to make a private one just for yourself, then by all means do that. But I have a list for all my local news anchors, because the local news is terrible and who has time to watch TV at 6 o'clock? But I know what's going on in my town. I have a list of all the bands that I love. I have a list of, what else do I have? I guess that's it. Those are the two things I care about. But it just makes it so much easier to consume. Now, that's how to use it for yourself as an information gathering tool. The other thing that's very interesting about lists is, I bet, especially if you've been on Soundboard for a while or have been active on Twitter for a while, you are probably the member of a list. You have been put on somebody else's list and you may or may not know it. So to figure this out, right now we're looking at what list am I subscribed to? What lists am I a member of? Now this is really cool. This account, the Juice Plus Helper handle account, has been put on a list of healthy recipes by this person that has 4,500 members. Drink More Water by some water cooler brand that has over 2,000 members. People who love whole food, because food wouldn't fit, by Sandy, 1,500. Healthy List, almost 5,000 by this dude. You get the point. What happens is, over time, because you're putting out good content every day, people are putting you on their list. They don't have to follow you to do this. So here's what you do if you discover that you are a member of a list. This does not work the same way as a Facebook topical group. This is, if you try to tweet into this list, other people in the list aren't necessarily going to see it. Okay, it's not like this closed room on Facebook where everybody's there for a purpose and everybody wants to talk about the same thing. Just like you didn't know that you got put on these lists, most of these other people probably don't know that they got put on these lists. But what you can do is begin to try to interact with the person who put you on it, and that is the person who created the list. Okay, so that's the first thing. Go and see if you have something to say to the person who cultivates the list. Now, this is a person who's interested in culinary art, a lot of different kinds of art things. So if you're interested, follow them, but reach out to them, tweet at them and say, hey, I just noticed you put me on your list. Thank you. What do you think about, I don't know much about culinary art, y'all. I'm sorry. You can ask them something related to culinary art to try to start a conversation, or one of these other things that you may know something about. But the point is, I don't think this account follows Juice Plus Helper, but this account cares what Juice Plus Helper has to say because I'm on their culinary list, okay? So that's thing number one that you can do. You click here and you go figure out who cultivated the list. Thing two that you can do is this. Click on the title of the list and come over here and you'll see, here's the name of it, A Public List by Sandy. Go see who else is in the list. And here are probably a lot of people that you can go follow. And when you follow them, of course, they get the notification. So you can maybe begin to start a connection that way. So now you have 1,500 people who love whole food that you can potentially interact with. All right, so you're going to find there's obviously some Juice Plus people on here, but I bet if we kept going and going, you're going to find a lot of people who aren't. Yoga teachers, swim instructors. She's a Juice Plus person. Anyway, you get the point. So you have here, you know, we've talked about building up your follower base. You have here a rich resource of real people. Okay, it is not going to be hard to get a follow back from a lot of these people and begin to start engaging. So I know I've kind of gone down a lot of clicking here, but friendly reminder how to find this. Go to your own profile and click on lists and then click on member of. Now here's the other thing that I don't always understand about Twitter. Sometimes if you haven't made a list yet, this button is not here. So how do you tell if you're a member of a list? Well, type in this address. Okay, type twitter.com/ whatever your handle is / memberships. And this will tell you all the lists that you are a part of. Okay, so twitter.com/ insert your Twitter handle / memberships. Great way to figure out who's listening to you. Due to the public nature of Twitter, they don't have to follow you. So very cool. And if you'll spend some time cultivating your own lists, then I think you'll get a lot of benefit out of consuming content that way. Okay? Any thoughts, comments, questions before we switch to the next slide deck? That's our thoughts for session 5. We're going to start session 6 here in a moment. Everybody doing good? Alrighty, onward we roll. So this is all about scheduling tools. Scheduling tools. Let's make our lives easier. So we're going to talk, I don't even need this deck. Let's just go over here. We're going to talk about Buffer. Buffer is, if you're not familiar with it, it is a free.com site, and it is a free app on your phone. So the first thing I would like to show you is the connect page. When you go to buffer.com, what Buffer lets you do is it lets you connect multiple social media channels to one hub, which is a nice feature. It is not the killer feature. For free, you can connect one profile per platform. So one Twitter handle, one Facebook page, one LinkedIn, one Google+. Google+ is Google's failed attempt at taking on Facebook. It's still operating, but it's not very popular. So you can see I have my personal Facebook, my personal Twitter, and my personal LinkedIn hooked in here. If you would like to run more than one Facebook page through your Buffer account, meaning your personal profile and a business page that you manage and a team group that you manage and a other group that you're a part of, then you have to upgrade to Buffer's $10 a month service. And some people find that a good use of their money, and some people say, I'm okay. So what Buffer does, let's go over to my content. I think everything, okay. So I have already scheduled a post to go out in about an hour and a half. And what this is showing me is that this post is scheduled to go out at 9:45 p.m. Central Time. And it's going to look like this on Facebook. I don't have anything scheduled for Twitter. All right, so let's go to Soundboard, and I want to show you how easy this makes your life. Because so many people say, James, Soundboard is so cool, but I still have to think about it every day. So Buffer is here to help you not have to think about posting every day. So let's pick an article. I think we probably talked about this on our intro call, but let's really unpack this. So Buffer is one of our most popular buttons, so that's why we put it at the top. So when we hit Buffer, this brings up our Buffer Power Scheduler, which has my Facebook, my Twitter, and my LinkedIn. Now this, to me, is not necessarily a great article for LinkedIn. I try to keep more business-minded stuff on there, so I'm turning that one off. So it's going to go out on Twitter, and here's what it's going to look like, and all I have to do is click this to make a good-looking picture go out with it. And now let's check out Facebook. Now Buffer does not let me automatically copy this text to accompany my post. So if you would like to use our suggested text, you got to come back to the soundboard, manually copy it, and paste it. You can read this if you want. It's long and dumb, and I don't think it's a good excuse. But Buffer has a reason for not copying that text over. Now, what you can do is click, move my Zoom toolbar, is we can schedule our post, all right? So I've already got a post scheduled to go out tonight, so I'm going to schedule this to go out in the morning. Typically peak hours 6 to 8 a.m. and 6 to 9 or 10 p.m. So I want to be top of everybody's feed in the morning. So we schedule. It takes a moment to add it to our queue, and when it does, it brings us back to the soundboard. So Buffer, their free version, lets you schedule up to 10 posts out, and however many you want to do a day. And the post that I just scheduled, even though it's going out on 2 platforms, that's still considered one post, all right? If you pay for their $10 a month plan, you can schedule up to 100 posts out. So if you will take a few, 15 minutes every 5 to 6 days, you can schedule out almost a week's worth of content across your handles, okay? Instagram, we'll talk about Instagram in one moment more. So when you are on Buffer now, let's go back to Buffer, and you can see now I have in my queue, I have a post ready to go out tonight, and now I have a post ready to go out tomorrow. Now here's where I really love Buffer. It offers some data points that, all right, before I get into that, I want to answer Maurice's question. What about Instagram? Okay, you do have this Instagram button over here that says connect. This is an uneasy marriage between Buffer and Instagram. Instagram is a completely closed universe. It does not have a public API. It does not have any way for you to share outside content to it apart from its own app. Okay, so that means that even though it looks like you can connect your Instagram account to Buffer, technically you can, and technically you can schedule posts out with the content. But Buffer, when it's time for the post to go out, it will not complete the post like it does for all these other channels. It will pop up a reminder, hey, you need to go post this on Instagram. Then you have to copy the picture to the Instagram app and post it yourself. The post will not publish without your touching it. So if you schedule something to go out at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's just not. If you schedule something to go out at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's just not unless you go and do it. Some people end up finding it to be a very helpful feature because they can post during peak hours without having to, they can do the planning and the work ahead of time, but they still have to touch their phones at the appropriate time. Okay, so that's the caveat with Instagram. So let's head back over to our dashboard and check this out. So a couple of pieces of data that I find are invaluable that Buffer offers that Facebook and these other platforms don't. So come to your analytics and come to your posts, and you will see your recent posts. Now, this is data gold to me. Facebook will tell you, obviously, how many people commented on it and how many people liked it. But that's where the information stops from Facebook. Now, to me, just glancing at this on Facebook, I'd think, nobody cared. But Buffer also tells you how many people actually clicked and read the article. So this, to me, is data gold, because I now know, hey, people actually care. People are actually reading it. Now, this one fell pretty flat. Maybe my audience isn't that into pictures of marshmallow bunnies. Now, this one really stunk. Boring graph, 2 likes, but nobody read it. These are like sympathy likes here. But check this one out. It only got 2 likes, but 13 people read it. Okay, so here's where you can really start to dig in. This one fell flat. This one fell flat. This one did okay. This one did great. So you can really start to see what's clicking with your audience. What are they reading? What do they care about? And then they have this great button here, rebuffer. There is no reason in the world not to repeat content across even just a couple of days. I promise. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to notice. And if it did really well, it's probably going to do really well again. So take the time to look back through your past posts. Now, of course, if you're just getting started with Buffer, you got to send some stuff out before it starts doing this for you. But I love this. Now, here's the other suggestion. Throw in some Facebook posts about the products that go to your Juice Plus site and see how many people are clicking through. That's great. That's great to know. And if you send 4 or 5 out over the space of a month and you get 0 clicks on those, you know, you don't need to be posting that. You need to be posting this other stuff, and then you take the conversation to the product at the appropriate time. And leading with the product on Facebook may or may not be the right thing for you to do, but give it a try, and here's your litmus test of how it does, okay? There was one other one that down here that did really well. Can't find it. And that was okay. One of them had like 100 and something clicks on it. I couldn't even believe it. Anyway. Oh, there it is. Huh. 1 like, 132 clicks. That's a lot of people reading that article. Must have gotten shared somewhere. This does not tell you your shares, obviously. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing that Buffer does is this. Remember I said typically peak times for Facebook, 6 to 8 a.m., 6 to 9 p.m. But Buffer knows better. Buffer knows what your audience is doing. Buffer knows what your audience cares about. So they have this great little doodad, our optimal timing tool. So we click on this, and then we tell it which platform we want it to look at. And then we tell it about how many posts a day we want to do. And then we do calculate. And Buffer is going to go take a look at your past performance of your posts and recommend times based on how your past performance has done. So then you can throw James's typical bell curve advice out the window. Maybe it's appropriate to your audience, maybe it's not. It's not to mine. Because look, my peak doesn't start till 8 a.m. And it peaks about 8:49 a.m. and then it drops off. So I have a very sweet spot from 8 to about 9 o'clock that I want to be posting. And then it's flat, 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 flat. Maybe a little bump, 4 o'clock, bottoms out. And then I have a big peak at 8 and a big peak closer to 10. So now Buffer is recommending to me that I post at 8:19 p.m. and 9:45 p.m. So you can hit this button, replace existing schedule, and whatever you told it before, it'll fix it. And it'll go grab your content, and from then on, it'll post it at the appropriate times. All right, now, I personally don't want 2 in a row going out. I do want one going out in that morning spike. So I'm going to switch this one to 8:19 a.m. So I've got a morning and a night post. But now watch what you can do. When you're scheduling something on Buffer, you don't have to think about the time or care about the time. Okay, so we've got our Facebook, Twitter. This is a pretty good LinkedIn article. People who work need to know about how to exercise and add to your life. So let's come back here, grab our text, paste it. Now, notice our button doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Oh, our tweet's too long. It's 9 characters too long. What can we do to it? Let's kill that and let's kill the A. And let's kill this and make it a number. Boom. Now we can throw a picture on there. Perfect. Now all you have to do is hit add to queue. And you don't have to care when it goes out. It's not your problem. It's Buffer's problem. And then all you got to do is come back and see how many people read it. Okay? So if you will block off a little bit of time, I know I've said this, but it's so true. 20 minutes, 30 minutes on a Sunday night. Pick some days to get 1 post, some days to get 2 posts. Schedule out your whole week's worth of stuff. And you do not have to think about the soundboard that treats you so well. You don't have to think about it all week. Just stay on top of your notifications and talk to people, and you're there. Pretty awesome, pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Buffer's your friend.com and free app. Works great on your mobile. If you run all your soundboard stuff through your mobile, it works great. Okay, the other thing that I was going to talk about is Instagram. I'm going to switch my screen share to a phone here and show y'all how this works. So let me make this go away. All right, so when we're looking at the soundboard on our mobile device, okay, first hint I would like to give you is how to bookmark your phone. Bookmark the soundboard. More ask, is there etiquette when too much time has passed to respond to LinkedIn or a tweet? I don't know. 2 months is too long. 5 days is not too long. Try to keep it within a week for sure. LinkedIn, you got a lot. It's a lot more forgiving. Twitter moves so fast. But I've gone days sometimes on Twitter, and it's been fine. So, people understand. Not everybody lives with their phone in their hands. So the first thing we need to do on our browser, okay, I'm going to take it back to the beginning here. I was already logged in. Is let's go to our site, which is juiceplus.vip. And that brings us here. And then at the top right where we've got our menu, we want to sign in. Now, after you sign in, here's when you do this trick. At the bottom of the screen, you see my box with the arrow coming out of it. We're going to click on that. And then you see in the bottom right, we have add to home screen. What we would like to do is we want this web page to be bookmarked on our desktop just like an app would be. Now, people still get confused about this, and I'll tell you, we goofed when we named this thing Soundboard-app. There is no app from the App Store that you have to download, but we want it to function like an app. So we're going to add to home screen, and then you can name it whatever you want. The default is this, links, social media soundboard, and then I'm going to click, well, I'm actually not going to click add because I've already done it. So I'm going to cancel out of here. But when you see at the bottom row, I haven't rebooted my phone in about 6 days, but this bottom icon that's just white, it usually looks like the soundboard, and it says links. And so that when you tap that, it's going to keep you logged in, and it's always going to bring you to the most recent results on the soundboard. Okay, so there's your little easy use soundboard tip. Now we're talking about Instagram, so we've got to get an image where Instagram will accept it. So first thing we're going to do is I'm clicking the magnifying glass, which brings up our search bar. And we're going to search for image only, and that brings up our images. And Julie Herbst gave me permission to put missiondrivenmodel.info images here. If you've ever seen her great site that they post so many great social media resources on. So we're sharing some of those. And then we also, of course, create some in-house. And then we also have some funny GIFs, although our Ron Swanson one, gagging on his banana, that one doesn't look like it's working right. It's not supposed to be that grainy. Anyway, GIFs don't work on Instagram, but let's pick an image. There were some more GIFs from National Nutrition Month. We have lots and lots of these things. All right, so let's pick something like this. So when you come here, you'll notice there's no Instagram button, as I was saying earlier, what a closed system it is. So at the top, where it says Love Yourself, we're going to tap that, and that's going to bring you to the image itself, where we host it. Now we're going to tap and hold on the image, and we get this Save Image. So when we save it, that saves it to our camera roll. And so then when we hop over to Instagram and we want to create a post, that's Daisy that y'all just met, climbing the wall, climbing the door frame. So when we want to make a post now, our image that Soundboard made for us and saved or created for us is sitting there in our camera roll, and then you can do whatever you want to it. There was a snake at work today. Woo! Crazy. Sorry. So then you just hit next and you can do whatever you want to it. All the filters. And then another great killer feature of Instagram is when you start typing a hashtag, Instagram suggests hashtags for you. And you can see on the right how frequently they are used. So you'll know to pick a good one. Or you can pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. And then your post is ready to go. And you can also, of course, let's just pick this one. You can also, of course, post your Instagram to Facebook, which is always a great idea. It comes through very nicely, nice looking image. If you hit the Twitter button, it will tweet the post, but it will not actually include the picture. It only includes a link, and it says instagram.com/blah, blah, blah. And people would have to, you can't see the image on the tweet. You have to leave Twitter and open your own Instagram app. And so I recommend against sharing it on Twitter. So that's how that works. Now, I think that's what, let me look at my slide deck. I know I'm leaving something out here. Let's see, there we go. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, LinkedIn. Okay. Anybody interested in LinkedIn? Anybody care? I want to spend a minute on that. Is anybody on LinkedIn? Does anybody have a profile? Okay. So LinkedIn, as a person in the direct sales world, you might not think that it is worth your time. But I would like for you to think about at least having a profile, because first of all, when you share stuff on LinkedIn, you can see on your home feed, there is a home feed of articles and content, just like there is on every other platform. So you can connect with new people like this when you share stuff. And the other thing about it is, and my mom helped me process this, because my mom is in a direct sales, and she sells clothing. Cabby is the line of clothing that she sells. You may have heard of it. It's a line of women's clothes only sold through home shows. And she uses LinkedIn not to try to move clothes to individuals, but she uses it like a chamber of commerce kind of connection point. So what she's done is she's been able to connect with local business owners. She lives in the Mississippi area too, close to me. But she's connected with local high-end shoe stores and local privately owned jewelry stores and ladies' high-end underwear stores. And what happens is when mom hosts a clothing show, she invites in the shoe store lady and the jewelry lady and the lingerie lady, and those ladies bring their customers, and everybody gets exposed to all new products that only they offer, and or only that one individual offers, and everybody has a great time, and everybody sells more stuff because you're cross-pollinating your customer base. So I know that Juice Plus works differently in that, you know, you obviously can't put product on a shelf somewhere and leave it, even if it's an independently run health food store. But you can have a presence in people's lives that are associated with those kinds of places. So does your local health food store offer nutrition classes or classes for nursing moms? If so, think about making those kinds of connections. You know, do you have people in your area that set up 5Ks or half marathons that you could have some kind of presence where you can meet people and have some kind of semi-official capacity? So think outside the box with LinkedIn, and, you know, just go and put your profile up and then connect with people that you either currently work with or worked with in the past, or you know from whatever. And, you know, LinkedIn is a super, super, super public platform, so don't be afraid to accept friend connections, or they're not really friend connections, they're LinkedIn connections, from whoever you get them from, because you never know where it's going to lead. And ask people, even like if you haven't seen them in 20 years and you went to high school with them, be friends with them on LinkedIn. Show me where to get the picture of the flower again. Is that on the desk, on the mobile device? Is that what you mean? Yes. Okay, let's do that. All right, so let's switch back over to the phone. Okay, so we're going to go to Soundboard, and then we're going to search for image only. That brings up all of our images. Let's just pick this first one. So anytime you go to an image, don't worry about any of the share buttons. We need to save the image. And so to do that, at the top, the title, Project Green, Pretty as a Pea, image only, is actually a link. So tap those words. See how it underlined it? My phone screen is broken because my beautiful twins that y'all saw said, "Daddy, can we listen to the soundtrack to Trolls and dance around and hold your phone? We promise we won't break it." Guess what? They broke it. The moral of the story is, don't let your identical twin 4-year-old girls hold your phone while they dance around to the soundtrack to Trolls. That's a very specific moral of the story. I know. What is going on? All right. Anyway, you get the point. All of these links at the top. Okay, something must be up with my browser because it's not launching a new window. I wonder if I have too many windows open. There it goes. So when you tap the link at the top, that's going to take you to the picture. Then tap and hold on the picture until you get this pop up. And when you hit Save Image, that copies it to your camera roll. Cool? Cool. Okay, my friends, I think we have about exhausted the knowledge base of James, the social media guy. I hope you all have benefited a lot from our past 5 weeks, even though we had a few dates with a hiccup. Thank y'all for persevering. I am so excited to connect with everybody next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Please Vox me. One of the fun things that I'm trying to do is set up interviews. If you have been hanging out at our Facebook page at all, you may have seen some of the interviews that I've been posting and doing stuff on the James and Joe show. Joe's my CEO. So we're trying to record a lot of interviews from the conference floor. So if you would like to be interviewed about social media, about your training experience going through the series, soundboard, you know, your favorite cat at home, whatever you want to talk about, let's do that. Vox me, and we'll put you on the YouTubes. It'll be great. And then I will be making a pop-in appearance at you all's dinner on Thursday night to tell you about our new big announcement and more. If you'll just kind of let me know ballpark how many people, I want to make sure I bring enough materials for everybody. So I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Safe travels. Happy Easter. Okay. Oops. I closed that too fast. You say one more thing. Oh, there you go. Okay. Nighty night, friends. Maura, I'll send you the recording.